Well, there's a few of us here. Oh, there's some people waiting. Leave us some comments. Let us know who's in the room. So, how have you been, Terry? How are you doing, Susan?
Oh,
You guys are on mute just in case, but
I am. I'm doing absolutely tremendous. It's fall here, and we're having great weather, unlike some other places. And it just feels like, oh, I'm ready to get going for the, get moving. The summer's kind of lazy, but once we get to the end of September, it feels like I'm ready to get out and do things.
good. It is a different time of year. We got Alex. Alex is having folks over. Oh man, I'm skipping folks. Let me go all the way to the beginning. What? All of a sudden we just busted out with all these comments. Dom, Lisa, Peggy, Nikki, Alex, Lisa. Oh man, so cool. Cool to see you all out there. Susan, I cut you off. What's going on? How are you?
Oh, well, I was busy at my home office, but my other one isn't busy. My Etsy shop got deactivated because I'm not allowed to put the definitions or what my herbal products are good for because, you know, God forbid something works as well or better than big pharma stuff. And I've got my new website I'm working on. It's live, but I keep adding things because I had over 100 things in my Etsy shop. Plus, I'm putting services on there too. So now I have everything in one place. So there's that.
I know we're adjusting. We're adjusting and making sure to stay on top of things. There's so many things going on right now. We're hot girl summer is over. No more hoeing and scrolling, right? Scrolling. That's what they said. No more hoeing and scrolling. He said you can't do no hoe math, but you might be able to help a friend. So even if you're not out here picking them up and knocking them down, you might still be able to help a friend in need. So it's good that you get this education, Dom. So hot girl summer was you were good, before in the winter you were losing weight and getting hot and sexy and hitting the streets and probably doing a little bit of sneaky shit every now and then. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not here to judge you. But supposedly that's what the summer was all about. But now it's cuffing season. And people say, well, what is cuffing season? Now it's time to snag you up a boo because it's going to get cold outside. You're going to want to lay down and rub up and eat and have a good time over the winter time. Some places is colder than others because Florida, it's always hot. So on that one cold day, you might want to snuggle up. So anyway, that's what
Well,
cuffing.
I have you all beat because it gets cold here for a
Ah,
long time.
you could probably stay in for a couple of months,
Oh,
right?
I easily.
So then
I
in West
stay in for
Virginia,
that 2 weeks in January in Iowa where it goes to -17. You won't see me anywhere. I will be in my house.
oh man, if it's worth the energy, yeah. But I liked it because in West Virginia, when we knew it was about to snow, you get all your favorite foods, you get your liquors, and you already know.
Yeah.
I didn't really have the cuffing thing down pat back then, but I knew how to fill my liquor cabinet up back then. So
Make sure you have your green and snacks and all your prescriptions
yeah,
filled if you got any.
so now we perfecting it. So I'm going to give some rules for the cuffing season. So it typically lasts from the fall to the spring. And this is when people want exclusive relationships. We're not trying to hook up anymore, right? So you want to be able to have somebody to get booed up and get somebody a Christmas present and hang out on the holidays and do special things. But here's some rules because now you have to get out here in these social situations, but you have to nail down some rules first. And the first rule it says is don't let anyone deprioritize you. I don't know if anybody wanted to say anything about that, but there are some times when people are trying to make the connection, but they're missing. They're not calling on the regular. They're not texting back like they're supposed to. But they can throw you out with some excuses and confuse you. But you don't want to allow for all that, right? You don't have time for confusion. You're worried about number one because the saying is supposed to be bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. But you're only as good as what you do today, right? So the person can be really good today. So you gotta maneuver yourself to be available to new opportunities in case these ones fail. So I'm giving this advice. This is cuffing season advice because people will turn sideways on you. And I know we've both been dating, Terry. So haven't there been these situations where it's like, okay, we went on a date and everything's great, and then you might try to abandon the app or abandon your situations, and you're like, no,
That's true.
you got to keep pushing the buttons because you never know. Like I could tell you a good example. I had someone that was morning, noon, night text. We hadn't gone out yet, but morning, noon, night text for like a whole week, and so you're like, yeah, cruising. All right, we're doing good. And then like maybe you go out, but then now that first date, he was an hour and a half late, and I was like, he called and he left a message. Or not left a message. He gave me the message. He was going to be an hour late. I figured, okay, well, that's decent. And then to me, I was like, should I see this as a sign when someone's late on the first date? I don't know. What do you guys say in the audience? What would you say?
I feel what like is he a cop or a nurse or
Is he an EMS worker?
Yeah, those kind of jobs you do get held out on. You try your best to get off on time because I remember what it was like trying to. We actually had this armed man one time, and I remember me and my friend that I was with. She was my coworker, but also my friend. We heard this guy upstairs kept hearing this click, 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 and I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Because he went up and they were having a domestic, and he went upstairs, and you had to go up by the bedroom wall where he was actually loading a banana clip with 223 rounds that of course would have gone right through the drywall. But I remember saying to her, because I hadn't had a date for like 9 months, I said, I got a date tonight, it's been forever. She's like, it's okay, I'll shoot him. Because you knew you were going to be there until the next day. I was like, damn it, I got a date tonight, She was like, it's okay, I'll take him. But,
so Peggy said to me, what was this guy's excuse? His excuse, which he could have told me earlier, because he could have told me yesterday that he found these bats in his ceiling. And the guy, maybe he thought that the exterminator would be able to get them out faster. But when he came, he was like, you're not going to believe this. And I know it sounds really stupid, but I swear to God, I'm not making this up. And he told me about the bats. Right? Now, that's cool. We hung out. Then the next day, there was something about the next day, and because it was like, if both of us don't have our kids at the same time, like, so we both don't have our kids this week. But then it was like, I'm sure on Wednesday we can hang out again on Wednesday because we can finish doing the things that we were supposed to do, right? And I said, do you think that, or do you know that? I'm just wondering for myself. But on Wednesday, there was like basically like the no-show. So it was like, okay, I'm really, really sorry. I'm really, really busy. I'm going through a lot. And I was like, is it work or is it home? But then I actually had to think about it myself because I know I'm of a certain age where I'm already retired and my son's already adult age independent. I can go out of the country right now. My son, he's good. But this person, they had like school age kids in their early teens. And then to top it off, their mother moved in with them because their mother's now father passed. And then you're kind of wondering, like, when you're going out with people, if this was you during your married times, these would be just things that are, but if you're trying to get to know somebody, it's going to be hard to try to get to know somebody who has been divorced for 3 to 5 years and they still are doing custody, and then throw on top of it, can I really come? When can I come to your house? When is it okay for me to come to your house? When is it okay for me to meet your kids? When is it okay for me to meet your mom? It depends on where they are, right? But then it also, there's like, how far into the space will the person let you? And I thought about it and I was like, that was kind of like not the best situation for me anyway. So, but I always tell Terry when I'm on the app, like, if today doesn't feel good with me and you, I'm gonna just go hit next. And if I get people in my box and they're not communicating in the 24 to 48 hours, I'm deleting them. And I think sometimes like people want to pile the people up, and they yeah, in Florida we got some big time bats, y'all. It's really big. But you kind of got them there and you're waiting for something to happen, but something is happening. When nothing happens, that's something happening. So next, like, you people you want to hold on to the little likes and stuff because you think, oh no, like you're never be in fear of missing out. Move the energy. And I like to just move the energy. I was talking to this one guy who was like a vegan for 2 weeks, and I swear the second conversation I said, I think you need to find somebody else, and he wasn't feeling that, so he was like, no, and I was like, okay, let's roll with it. But then it became random, right? Call me on Thursday, then call me on Tuesday. Okay, well, next. Because honestly, it's really more about meeting the person, and then, because if you can't get into, I guess it's like a hopper, because first you gotta like the person, then you gotta chat with the person, then you gotta exchange numbers, then you gotta plan a meetup, and you're not trying to have people be stuck as pen pals. You're not doing it to be pen pals. So that was the next one, is beware of pen pals, because if you get people in your inbox and you're not making any plans together, what's the point? You can't make it to what's it called, cuffing season with a pen pal. Okay, so that doesn't work. That doesn't work. And then, wow, something must be missing. Oh, so avoid waiting for the one, because I hear a lot of my friends say this too, like, I'm not going to date until I find the one. But if you're not dating, how do you find the one? Because you kind of got to learn about yourself, what you want, what you don't want, and then pick the one. We never really learn how to multi-date. Like, we date as if you're going to lose something by going out with people. Like, number one, it's supposed to be just fun. You're supposed to make this fun for yourself. And I think that's like a big thing too, is making the process fun for yourself. That, oh, if someone doesn't like you back, or if someone doesn't make it to the meetup process, don't sweat it like it's such a huge deal. Just hit next. Just hit, the excitement is getting new attention, new opportunities, and not being stuck in one person doing one thing, and letting that person just sit on your mind and take your energy. And then beware of your levels of emotional investment. I think that's it too, because we get emotionally invested in the one, because we did have this really good conversation. But understanding too, there's lots of not so cool people out there, but there really are lots of really cool people that are really nice. This guy, he didn't make it to the second date, but he still was a really cool guy. Just the situation just wasn't conducive on either side, because maybe there was something weird that I said that night. Because I do, I've got to the point now where I'm thinking certain things about myself, because I'm very candid and very honest. They could be actually kind of scary to other people, because other people aren't living this life. You know what I mean? So who knows? It might not have been suitable for him, but I did have a chance to think about it over the weekend and be like, you know what? I really can't have a cookie cutter person, right? I have to have someone who's probably just as strange and outgoing as me and my crazy friends. So anyway, these were some of the rules. Beware of your levels of emotional commitment, that just keeping things light to the point where it's fun, and not as if you're sacrificing an arm or a leg just by going out on a date with somebody. It doesn't mean it's the end all if that doesn't work. But I mean, Terry knows that I was going through it in the last couple of weeks. Someone called me a racist. Someone called me a racist because I asked him, was his child biracial? But he started off a white person talking about black church, and then he was talking about like some crazy situations he was in, and I was like, "Is your child biracial?" And so somehow I was being labeled because the situation was dramatic. I was labeled as judgmental or what do you call it, racist by this person. But I'm going to tell you this too. That's another thing when it comes to the pen pals. It's really easy for people to chat and sound good, and really you don't even know who you're really talking to, because are they getting help with the text messages? Who knows? Because I got that person on the phone. Within 2 minutes, I knew that that was not a person for me. Next. And another person, another guy. I don't know why people decide to get on the phone with you when they're like completely busted up. Like either they're 420 or they're drinking in 420 at the same time. And they're like, oh, and you're like, oh, okay, got that number blocked. Let's delete you real quick because you can't even handle your liquor. So you're not even able to be cool on the phone. But it was good. There was one gentleman who put up pictures of himself where he was way younger than what he was, and he gladly video chatted me like it was his idea. And I was like, holy shit, like your molecules are coming apart right in front of my face. Like he was gonna spontaneously combust or some shit. It was so creepy. But I was like, see, what if I had wasted days texting this person? In a couple of minutes, I saw, number one, you're overly intoxicated. And number two, you're like way older than your picture and you do not look the same. This and the vegan. I'm gonna say that too, because I hope he actually watches this too, because he showed a picture of himself where he was younger than what he really was, and they were blurry pictures too. So when I saw his face at first, he looked okay, and then the next day I was like, that vegan shit might not be doing too good for you right now in Florida, because I was just like, your eyes are sinking in and you're looking a little bit funny. And then, of course, I mean, I'm not going to say all vegans are bad, but I'm just saying some people aren't getting the nutrition they need and they're a little bit edgy. And he was like very intense. And I asked him one time, like, is every conversation like this with you? Like, are you intense about everything? Because I really don't have that kind of energy. And every day, about is, I was around another guy too. It was one of my friends. He was like, thank God I don't eat meat. Thank God I don't eat meat. It was like always just pumping that, whatever. Hey, Allison. So those were some of my situations. But when you're in this cuffing season, you gotta follow the rules, ladies, and gentlemen too. If someone's not responding back to you and they've made you deprioritized you, they're not a priority. You're not a priority. Because see, at first before the date, it was priority, and then after the date, deprioritized. And then during the date, I even asked the guy. I asked him. I said, "So, what's the most important to you thing right now?" And he had this list and those top three, and neither one of those three was maintaining a new relationship. You can ask some people what's important to them right now, and they're gonna say, I really want someone for me right now. You know what I mean? But if he named three things and that wasn't a part of it, then that already told me too, like, oh, okay. So, and some people will write casual, some people will write less and give more. So anything you want to say, summarize anything what I just said? I don't know, lady.
I think it's like weirder trying to date out here in Iowa because these guys out here look busted out. Oh my! I mean, East Coast guys like they try to put cologne on and do their hair and look nice. I mean, you're lucky the guy brushes his hair out here because, I mean, but some of these farmers do look hot, but none of them like. I don't think you look too hot when you're my age and you've been out in the sun with no sunscreen for 50, 60 years, especially if you're German descent. And then they're all German looking, and I won't lie, I like Latin guys. There's nothing around here. You know, like, was there some 5'11" Puerto Rican guy can go salsa dancing with or something,
Well, you
But
need to come to Florida, Susan. You in the wrong
yeah,
place.
there's nothing out here,
It's not. It's Caracas, Colombia, Antigua. I mean, it's so many. Girl, come on down. Come on down.
I need a heterosexual one that's, no pedophile. I don't want to find out your ex-wife was pedophile impregnated. I don't need to find out you're the gay, go to gay sex parties by yourself. It's you gotta be freaking straight, man. And like I think a lot of these old guys lie too, because I saw one and they're like saying he's 70, and I'm like, I didn't like older guys when I was younger. Like, be my age or within 4 years of my age. But this, I don't want some dude that's 20 years older. I mean, because I swear to God, they're just looking for nurses now. I mean, I think you might be better off with somebody who's widowed, because at least they liked women. And then, a guy that does guy stuff, because, I'm not crazy about cleaning, but I'm a foodie and I like to cook and I make folk medicine and stuff. And so I'm in the house doing stuff, but I need some guy that can like fix the plumbing, because I like old houses and old things. But yeah.
I think you made a really good point too, because I saw one gentleman on his profile. He wrote, "Stop putting your kids on here." Because just imagine you on here looking at somebody, you're like, "Ooh, he hot," and then you like seeing a bunch of kids. You're like, "Whoa!" Like that's not the place for it. And people do weird shit like that. They don't understand that some people might be dating you for your kids, so you really shouldn't be advertising your kids on putting that on the dating app.
And then
It's
things
really cringy.
have changed. Like when I was single, like divorced with a kid at like 26, nobody would date me because I had a kid. But these same mofos are 50 years old with a 4 or 6-year-old, because they went after some young chick who took all their money and they had a kid with her. I don't want you now, because my kids are all out of the house. I'm not going to be your babysitter while you're spending with your kids. I'm not. No, nobody's sucking me into that bullshit again. Where I'm taking care of their kids while they're working. Because I have my tubes tied at 34. I'm not. That's your bad decisions. It's not mine. And yeah. Geez, this is all talking about the same person.
Oh wow!
I know everything I don't want. Yeah, I need somebody that can match my energy too. But then I kind of like right now, I kind of want to get up and just go travel the country, and I don't mind being by myself. It'd be nice to have a companion. It's the same weird stuff I'm into.
I know it would be nice, especially for some cruises or something.
Yes. Because I'll sign up for a girls' cruise. I'm kind of scared to go on Misha's cruise though, because I don't want to all get like kidnapped off the boat in some ship or something. I won't lie. I always get paranoid that we're going to get kidnapped when I go to those things. Because I mean, earlier today I was on a TI page and this lady contacts me in Messenger. She's like pouring out her heart to me, and then I go to send her a voice message because she was like, "Oh, I got targeted in this thing." And then I let go of the voice message thing to send it. And see, I can't send her any messages anymore. And her whole profile's been deleted. And I'm like, what the hell just went on? That made me paranoid, because I'm like, is that my ex trying to set me up with some weird shit? I don't know.
Any findings for you, Terry? What do you find? Like, it's tough. Because you do want someone more mature, like in your age group. But then some of those people in that age group, they're lying about their age. So it's like they lying to be down in your age group.
Yeah, I had that experience. Is that the guy was 10 years older than he said he was, and it was like, You know what? I'm at a certain age. I don't want somebody 10 years older than I am because
But she can't afford it.
I can't afford that. I'd
No.
like somebody my own. I'd like somebody my own age, a couple years. You know, like I think Allie had said 3 years up and 3 years down, and you had said 7 and 7. It's for me, 7 is a little bit much these days.
7 is a lot. Yeah, it will be different for you.
Yeah, so 3, 3, 4 is probably okay, but I find that a lot of men my age are looking for women 10 years younger than them.
Of course, because a lot of
And
men are doing a different thing than
so
what women
great. They think they look so great, and of course and it's interesting on some of the sites. Well, they want her to look like this, or they want this, and it's like, I don't know any women who can fill what you're looking for,
It's a different thing because, see, for a man, there's one, you want this, and you want this, and you want all this. So you got to have this. Mm-hmm. Because you're basically going to end up paying for what you want. And if she doesn't have it, then you're going to build it. I've been on the Sugar Baby website before. I know what's up. But then they're also going to be looking for someone who, that really old guy, he married that woman. I cannot remember her name. It's Nicole. But it's not Nicole.
The Playboy
Anna
Bunny
Nicole
girl.
Smith.
Anna Nicole, right? And so people were like, oh, it's disgusting. I'm going to tell you what he did. He had enough money. He paid for what he wanted, okay? But this is a man who wets the bed. I remember his son. No, he does. He wets the bed. He was geriatric.
Yeah,
and so no regular woman is going to be with a geriatric man unless he can be like, I'm going to pay you to touch my willy. Okay. So that's just real. That's what he was doing. And then when he died, his son was like, she doesn't deserve the money. To me, I thought she deserved every fucking penny because she made this very elderly, unattractive person feel good about themselves because they had what they wanted. And he paid for it. That's just, it's an exchange. It's just how it was. Okay. But no, she deserved every penny for having to peas in the bed, but if he says, I want you to sleep in this bed with me and I'm gonna pee on you tonight, give that bitch the money. Okay, stop playing. But anyway,
I'm at that weird age where if I go up, I'm gonna be dating a boomer, and I unfriended a boomer because he was going through my pictures,
liking every one of them. That's how you can tell somebody.
He kept saying, "You look prettier if you smile," and I was like, "I was put on earth to smile for you," And I've heard that ever since I was a kid. That all those old boomers tell me, "You look pretty."
But basically, like those guys too, they're looking for someone younger who's going to be more like a caretaker, because you ran. Especially this, what I experienced one time too when I was in my late 20s. There was this man. He was in his 50s, and he was in the club with us. And he was a good-looking man with really pretty eyes. You can tell that he had been a really good-looking guy who ran through a lot of girls when he was younger. And now you never got married, and you really want to settle down, but you're like 50-something now, and you're in the club with us. And these guys were making fun of his truck. They were making fun of everything. Like, get your basically like your old ass. Like, it's funny because he's like, I'm like his age now. But back then, but it was just like, please don't talk to me, sir. You're embarrassing me in front of everybody. Because everybody in the club was like in their 20s and early 30s. And he was in there trying to make a connection. But dude, that lady that you, those ladies that you had chasing you with you young, they probably all gone and married and having a good life. And he was still single out there chasing. So it was just interesting. People are at like just different walks, and you got to kind of look at the signs of the time when you're a certain age and be like, either you're going to stay by yourself or you're going to make an honest effort to try to participate in these activities. But yeah,
I know someone who he was always dating the youngest and the prettiest girls, and as he started aging, well, he ended up finally marrying somebody who's like 15 years younger than him. And he's my age now. But his wife is younger, and he's got his kids are probably he's got they're around 20 or so. And but his wife is not anything that he used to go out with. And she's aged, and she doesn't age like those pretty 20-year-olds that he was always after when he was younger. So it's always kind of funny to see, he was so picky when he was younger. And then the pickings got kind of narrow for him.
Yeah. So he was messing with all the steak and filet mignon. Now he got like a tuna sandwich. Like, oh, well, I'll just eat tuna tonight. We just eat tuna salad sandwich.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Wow.
And some of us are still the filet.
Yeah. A mature filet.
That's right. It's well-aged, yeah.
Well, there's a guy, he has his own channel, and I mean, he's turned it into, he's done the work. Like, he's worked with therapists and psychologists, and he's put together these tests, psychology tests for compatibility and things like that. And he has a channel called Hoe Math. And that's one of the things that I wanted to look at today, because we're in the time where everybody's like, no, you're beautiful. No, you're perfect. And everybody has access to makeup, hair dye, fake hair, fake boobs, whatever. They can put everything on they want, and they can suck it all out if they want. And so we're at a point where everybody thinks that they're a 10, but then realistically, we kind of know we got flaws, right? Like, I got a dent on my left butt cheek, and I got a couple of teeth that are missing, or I got fake, I got some fake teeth or whatever. Like, there's these things, right? Everybody wants to be a 10. Still couldn't keep up. Well, Larry, being a combat vet, I wasn't a combat vet. I'm a medic. Still couldn't keep up if they tried. Well, see, and some people like gray hair, because some of our what makes us attractive is the perception of the other person. Like, I happen to freaking love a gray beard. Love it. So if you got a nice trim gray beard, you're gonna already get like a plus on my shit. I just love a gray beard, right? Or someone with green eyes. Like, there's gonna be these things about us that we things about people that we like and things that we don't like. And I still believe, like, this whole thing is about what you want versus what you have to offer, and what you're willing to share and what you're willing to give to get the things that you want. Because this whole thing is very complicated. I think people make it a little bit transactional, and it's way more complicated than what people can get. Like, some people, they get to sitting over here thinking, well, the person doesn't have this, the person doesn't have this. But what if you have your own shit? Like, if you have your own stuff, then the person doesn't have to give you certain things. Because when I see relationships, I always think it's what the person has to give to me with the heart and with the mind, with conversation. Because how good is it if the person can buy you everything, but then they can't have a conversation with you, and you can't, relate? Or if I can't just have random conversations and rattle off at my mouth about the odd thoughts that I have in my head, if I can't express that without being judged or being told maybe I talk too much or being made to feel judged, so then what can I offer the person? That same compassion, understanding that they might have these weird things about them, but I can be accepting of those things. Versus all what I'm seeing a lot is way more transactional type things that people are looking for. Of course, you don't want anybody who's going to take you down. Like, if you notice all of a sudden now you got to be busting out bail money, or you got to go buy somebody a wardrobe. Like, if the person is sucking from you anything that you're not willing to give, because some people are willing to be sugar mamas and sugar daddies. That's their thing. There's no judgment of that. but what is it that you're willing to give, and what is it that you really want? What are the things that are really important? And then what are your deal breakers versus some things that you might want, but maybe you can forego. There's always this 80-20 rule. And I wish I could find this thing too. It was an 80-20 rule chart. And it said basically if you wanted someone who was an athlete and that was the most important thing, that negative 20%, that thing that kind of gonna put a wrench in is they might not be as smart as you like. They might be as sexy and fit, but they might not be as smart in an area. You want somebody who's an artist and who's can create and be creative, but then they might not be organized. They might have no sense of time, no sense of life direction, or they might just be messy. And then you might want someone who's an intellectual, but then they might be a little bit more in the head and not in the heart, and they might be insensitive sometimes. So there's these 80-20 rules that apply. But I think the gentleman who does Hoe Math does like a really good he does a really good job of breaking it down. I know a green ear, yeah, you had green eyes and gray beard too. Like now is someone might get hurt, if that all comes together like that, Allie, for me. I mean, like, no one should look at you. No, I might get crazy. But anyway, we're gonna check out this Hoe Math and check this out. And this is gonna be the first time for Terry and Susan being able to see this. And it's about the attractiveness. So we're gonna rewind. And you can see that, everybody can see that.
How do I know how attractive I am? It's the number one question I get since starting the channel. I'm going to give you 2 rules to find out, but first let me explain. This is my how attractive diagram. It's new. I included a guy and a girl evaluating themselves and each other according to the standard female delusion chart. It's based on examples of relationships.
And notice he said female delusion chart. Because in hers, she's supposed to be like, the world sees her as a 4, but she sees herself as a 10. Because it's like, I think you understand that, don't you, Terry? Like we're supposed to love ourselves and have good self-esteem, but then we also have to be realistic. Like, do we have all the things that people want? And so it's
other according to the standard female delusion chart.
Anyway,
based on examples of relationships and the power dynamics that structure them, so you can get a sense of how people assess their own value and trade it with others. Basically, what is this person giving to their partner or target partner, and what are they getting in return? This is what I think we should all be shooting for, perfect 50-50, and also admitting that we are average. I included the attractiveness bell curve with the not people zone built in. That is why most guys don't get attention. That's why there's a second average here. That's Ryan Gosling. That's the average of the men that count as people. I included the ways that we evaluate each other. There are things that everyone likes or doesn't like. There are things that people usually like and don't like. And then there are personal preferences, and then a reminder of how to use them. And finally, a reminder that not everyone has the same opinion. I've gotten this from up here, and I have gotten this from down here. I depicted a variety of relationships. This is an Elon Musk, Andrew Tate type situation. He has a lot of money and power, and so he doesn't have to put in much effort. Here's an example from an old video I made. She doesn't want none of that unless you're attractive. She says, "Don't catcall me unless you're a 7, by which she means 9. This is a relationship I was in. That is a picture of me when I was good. I spent some time with somebody who I liked, but there was a large attractiveness difference, and so she tolerated a lot from me. Here again is what most people should be shooting for, on the same level, each putting in half. Here's another example from my TikTok. He was in a relationship with someone who wasn't putting in anything. As you can see, it does not matter how hard he works. She wasn't ever going to change. And finally, at the bottom, I have a reminder that it doesn't always have to be 50-50. As long as everyone is happy with the situation, somebody who is maybe of a little lower value can put in more, and someone else of a little higher value can put in less, and it can work out. You can do something like this if you're okay with it. And if you're not okay with doing something like this, then you have to just not do it anymore. So basically, this would be what someone perceives about their value and then how much work they're willing to put in for what they perceive about their partner's value. Sometimes people will say something like, I know a guy who's a 2 who has a girl that's a 9, and that's not true. It's just that she perceives something in him that equalizes the value transfer. So people don't have a value, they have a perceived value, and everyone perceives it differently, and how attractive you are is the average of how you are perceived. It's not all looks. I once said that I know where I am with women, but not with each woman. I've gotten, again, a variety of responses. And that can make it hard to tell where you are, and that's why you have to pay attention to feedback. When I started getting in shape, I noticed that more women would smile at me, and they would pretend to be helpless, so I would do things for them, and then they would look at me on the street. And I never made it up here, but some people do. So I think I'm here right now because these things have slowed down for me. So I was here when I was young, and then I put in effort, and everything changed. And then, time. Some women still like me a lot, but they have to get to know me first, which equalizes attraction. So that's feedback. For men, anyway. For women, it's different, but you have to pay attention to the feedback you get, and then look at what kind of person you're getting it from to know where you are. And yes, nothing is a kind of feedback, so if you're getting nothing, that is an answer. But there are things you can do about that. You can self-improve, and you can get to know people. A lot of guys just go after strange women forever, and they're like, why is it not working? It's because you're here when they don't know you, and you're here when they do know you. So
I think that was a really good point, right? Because people are trying to date people they have no clue about. They're not really getting out to get to know people. I know it's a time now where we have to try to mingle a little bit more and be willing to even go out. It's hard. Terry, I don't know if you wanted to talk about that, because sometimes you're not. I notice too, when I see somebody, a picture of somebody versus an actual person, I'm a lot more apt to talk to that same person if I had seen their face in person versus just a picture.
Yeah, I think it's like really getting to know somebody, like meeting them face to face and having a conversation is a lot different than just seeing a picture, right? And and I suppose if you're going on like on the dating apps and that sort of thing, you can move on to doing some FaceTiming and that sort of thing, but it still doesn't take the place of actual meeting somebody.
Right. Like I think I told you before too. I would look at somebody online. I'm like, they're 5'7". That's too short. But then you could meet somebody in person and meet a person who's 5'7". You're like, I just like them, like I just like their face, or I just like their style, or whatever. So you're like looking at a number of 5'7" versus somebody standing in front of you that's 5'7". You're going to be more critical of data.
Yeah.
That's what I was noticing about myself, that I was very critical of data. And then that's when I was starting to understand something about people in general too, that we're collecting so much data like a job interview that we're not here, we're here. And so you can't really function like that, really.
And I just wanted to say another thing is I find that especially like in our community, people know about us astrology, and then they say, well, I'm not going out with them because they're I don't know, a Sagittarius, and I don't do well with them. But they've already made a judgment without even getting to know that person. And I think that sometimes can cause a challenge if you're in your head, like you said, in your head too much, and say, well, this is the kind of person I want. But meanwhile, you could meet somebody at the grocery store and you don't have any of that information, and you'll just hit it off right away. And so it's when you go online, when you do the dating apps in this way, it's different than actually meeting someone. But the question is how do you meet someone? Because I don't want to go to a bar. I'd like to play golf, but I can't afford it. Like where do you go, and where do you meet people? Especially as you get older, that are going to be fun.
I want to make some paraphernalia, because I feel like You should have on shirts. You might not want to, but you need to have on shirts. It's like, I am open for discussion. I think now too, there's things too, because I remember my neighbor, he has a difficult time talking to people because one thing is you don't know if a person's open to your advances, because if you're a man and you're trying to talk to women, those women might not be open to men, or they might not be open to you because of your height or whatever. Like, you just don't know when is it okay to approach somebody. Like, I was even talking to some other women that are older, and they're like, well, I don't want to go online. But it's like, where are you going to go? Men don't just walk up to strangers anymore. That's not what the world is like anymore.
Mhm.
That's actually quite illegal now, because some people were out of control and maybe forward and maybe a little bit didn't know how to behave. Like, we have these balances. There really were a lot of people out here. I can remember this time when people make comments about your butt, or they say something about your rack, they say something about your body, and they're always like thinking someone's open to them, right? So we had some really stupid people in the bunch that fucking ruined it for everybody because they didn't know how to treat people. But now it's to this point where now no man you cannot walk up to people and ask people out. So you have no choice but to go online. I mean, unless you're being set up or put in a group situation where you're like, is she single? And you can have someone ask, is she okay with me talking to her? That type of thing.
I have had two guys come up to me in the grocery store out here, I won't lie. And of course my first question was, did you have the jab? And they said, yeah, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't date anyone that had the jab.
Yeah. But some people are detoxing from it, so I don't know. That's one of those things where I like how he puts, this is how you know you're ranking real high, when you can get bail money. gifts from strangers. And then you can know that you're doing pretty good if a person says, hey, can you help me get this off the shelf? And then right here, if she smiles, if random people are smiling at you. So, and just remember, no feedback is still feedback. So
once you get your feedback, identify who you're getting it from. When I got these looks on the street, they were from women in this range, which fits this model. And when I asked women for a number, they told me 8. It all kind of fit together. Let's talk about why this is difficult. Talking about attraction is emotional. Some people just don't see the feedback. Some people don't want to admit that they're average, and some people are just delusional. You can say you're a 10 until you believe it, but you cannot say you're a 10 until I believe it.
Scale of 1 to 10.
A fat fucking 10.
In the early days of my channel, a month ago, I gave a lot of women ratings. They got a lot of views, especially when I was mean. Women volunteered to be complimented and insulted.
It makes you look like a whore.
I got reported for gender-based violence and bullying, even though they volunteered. This guy thought 10 was too high for a literal model. Here's what he looks like. So people see the world a little bit distorted. That's why I made this.
Ryan Gosling being attractive is Hollywood propaganda.
She then says that he's average, by which she means this. I found a bunch of videos like this.
For every one decent looking man, there's like 50 hot girls. Like, it's ridiculous.
And so I'm going to be mean because she thinks that she is hot and not really understanding, like, you're just regular. It's so many women, like, there's so many of us, right? We're all, you could say good looking, but we're, she's rating herself as basically a 10. Okay.
Ridiculous.
We're all so hot. But
You want to hear? It's disgusting.
I try to get around these distortions, but not everyone will. That's why you need this. Some people say attraction is subjective, but there are some things we all like or don't like, and some things we usually like or don't like. So it's only part subjective.
And I want to finish
And
that.
the way people perceive you is not all about.
And I'm gonna finish that too, because number one, you see yourself somewhere. I guess what I've always thought, or what I've discussed with other people, is what you want is someone who thinks that you hung the moon. That was like from an old movie, right? You want someone who thinks you hung the moon. It's not that everyone thinks this, but in that person's eyes, you're the best. And I think what other people are thinking is, because I feel I'm the best, everyone should think I'm the best. And it's really not that True, because there's some people who really think that they're super beautiful, and some people don't really feel the same. You know, even literal models that people don't find attractive. So
About looks, it's about many things, which is also sometimes very personal. For example, you would not believe this, but some people do not want an angry mommy girlfriend. That's Alex Pierce. She's known for her angry ranting. Some people love it. She's very polarizing. That would be a personal preference in personality. Also, different people value different things differently. I would rather have a 10 here and a 5 here than the other way around. So, judge by universal and usual preferences and not personal ones. Include everybody in the world in that age group, and include everything you know about them to get their total value. That's how to judge fairly, but not everyone will do that. So you have to remember how this works and then look for your feedback. Let's do guys first. I said I used to get looks from women on the street when I was up here. That's rule number 1 for guys. If you're getting attention from women who don't know you, you're doing good. That's why very few men get all the attention on dating apps, because very few men look good to women right away. Familiarity evens things out, so if you know her pretty well and it's not working, she probably sees you as down here, and you should either adjust your expectations or work on yourself. And you should work on yourself. I went from here to here and it changed everything. Guys down here tend to think that women are just difficult, but if you make it past this line, you get to be difficult, and I recommend it. This is a real thing someone said to me. I was basically staying at her place, drinking all her wine, hitting on her friends, and she was like, I can't get rid of you. It's a good thing you're so good. I don't actually recommend treating people this way. I'm just saying you can be valued. I will show you how to work on yourself in a video called Self-Maximize coming up. Basically, do this first, find out who likes it, do this next, and try to end up here. Okay, now let's do women. Men have to know when they are here, and women have to know when they are here. I just told men that if you're getting attention from women that you don't know, then you're doing pretty well. Some women think this is true about them too. It is not. This girl is bragging that 108 people are interested in her. She probably thinks they all feel this way. They don't. A lot of men, including me, will give attention to women who we judge as being anywhere from here to here. If I think you're a 4, I probably wouldn't put you higher than here, but I might put you here. You have to know who feels this way about you and who doesn't, and this is how you know. You can't listen to what they say. They'll say anything. You cannot pick who you like and make him keep you. We do not work that way. You have to find out who wants to keep you and pick your favorite one. If you start with this, then you're not filtering out the guys who will make you end up here. Your level is the best guy who will commit, not the best one in your inbox. A lot of women hate that advice. They say, I'm not going to settle for less. And that's okay as long as you realize that if you're aiming too high, you might end up alone or with a guy who's got 5 other girls. All I'm saying is you don't want to be her, and you cannot be her just by saying you are. Other people have to agree. That's why we used to have marriage. It was proof of commitment and not just saying it. So you can tell who likes you by how much he's investing in you. That's time, money, energy, commitment. How much does he want to have a public relationship? How much does he want to show you off? How fast does he give up other women for you? If he's not giving you those things, he probably won't. So for men, you're looking at what kind of woman is giving you signs of attraction. Being nice is never going to change that. And for women, you're looking at what kind of man is giving you signs of commitment, and more attraction to him is never going to change that. I think we all know these things on some level, but we just don't want to be honest with ourselves. We don't want to admit where we are. But if you do, that's going to get you the best result. This is what most of us should be looking for. So here's those 2 rules I promised you. Number 1, you know how much someone likes you from the energy you get minus the energy you give. Don't expect that to change. And number 2, you know how attractive you are by looking at what kind of person gives you about the same as what they take. So don't give people energy that they don't give back, and then pick from whoever is left. If you enjoyed this video, there's about a million ways to support me on my Linktree, and I'm gonna start making music and stuff. Here's some of it.
This episode of
I like him because he's just like, be honest, be realistic. What do you give? What do you get? Give the equal energy. Don't give more than what. I mean, I feel like he's being really honest. I don't know what you all thought. I know Susan had some laughs during the video.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I can't even see how I'm gonna find anyone to date out here, to be honest. Yeah, because I'm used to people that have PhD brains that wear clothes that farmers wear, and yeah, it's I just can't see being with a mechanic or somebody that works in a factory. It's just not, no.
And it's not necessarily their job. It's more the usually the mindset of the person that is in that position.
Yeah, it's just, and then the people that work in those positions, all they want to do is drink beer, and yeah, I don't know.
When are you gonna move from Iowa? We got to get you out of Iowa then.
Sometime, I don't know. I want to go south. It's too cold here.
Yeah. Terry, you had some thoughts on the video?
You know, that's the first time I've seen it, so it was really interesting. His way of perceiving it. But you know what? It's just all in the mind. It is all analytical. And damn it, you know what? If you're going to fall in love with someone, none of that's going to make the difference, right? I think he's trying to formalize everything, and that's coming from the head and not the heart. And so I'm not criticizing. It's just an observation.
Yeah, you know what I think though? I don't think that he is saying that's how we should be, but so what he's doing is taking all these women's videos that are saying, "You go, girl, and you can do this." And there's this thing called sprinkle. I don't know if there's so many of these videos out there with women saying you can take this from a person if they're gonna sprinkle, and sprinkle means if they're gonna spend money on you. So people are putting out these ideologies of he should have this girl and he should have that, and they're making these videos for women that tell them that this is how we should judge and be transactional, like the cheesecake video that many people saw, where the woman she met a man. She's almost 6 foot tall. She met a man who's like 5'9", and he was a nice businessman. He met her at the bar. They talked, they exchanged numbers. She decided to go on a date with him, and she was like a corporate executive type person. So she has a corporate executive attitude. So the attitude that she has at work with structure, she brings to dating. And he should do this and this and this, and he should do it this way. And da, 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 da. So she, number one, had him being videoed. Her followers were watching the video online as she was getting ready for the date. She's like an hour and a half late. And he takes her to the Cheesecake Factory, and she won't get out of the car. She embarrasses him, waits for him to get out, open her door, and she won't get out of the car. And then she just basically berates him for taking her to someplace so cheap. And in my book, Cheesecake Factory is not cheap, because you can have dinner and dessert at Cheesecake Factory and it could be like $60. You know what I mean? But she wanted to go to a place where the meals were $100 each and the drinks were a certain amount. And so it's these attitudes of the person has to spend this much money on me. Now, he did clap back on her because his thought was, well, if you weren't an hour late getting ready, I had reservations at a really nice place. That's where I was really going to take you. But you were late. And so, but we've seen it, and I know we've seen it in different places, how women are very being told that oh well, what's in it for you, and what's he offering you, and it's become very online transactional. It's very materialistic. I mean, we got this Kardashian type attitude about people and dating, and it's very unrealistic, and
Yeah.
it's very. And so I think he's done this thing to break it apart. And I'm sure he's still living in that world himself. But even where for him, if you watch his videos, there's a little bit of sadness in it because he's feeling the pain of it. Like he's if you say how he said we used to have marriage to prove XYZ, because he's basically saying that the world is coming apart at the fabric and it's over. His full mentality is that the world is over. You know, we've lost it. Batten down the hatches. We're all it's all going down. It's all set on fire. And he's kind of responding with this whole attitude. And you can hear his attitude in the different videos, the sarcasm and the bitterness. It's really kind of sad because I was like, I think he's a super smart guy. Even in 2024, he's only dated for 3 months. And then he was like, I was in a relationship for 3 months and then it didn't last. Because the person probably thought he was really smart, but I think he's probably suffering a little bit from depression because he's a little bit. But you know what? You can't make good projects like he makes so many really good videos without his mind being so embedded in it that he's kind of maybe lost in it, maybe a little bit. So, but I still said, I think you're great. But he's really depressed. You can tell he's really depressed. He does one-on-ones too, where he'll like have different women like, how can I get this guy to choose me? And he'll like, you know, and have these little groups with men and women and have them talking about it and stuff. But you're right. It is a thing where they're kind of stuck in their head. But I still feel like we do it too. Like, I think we still do it as spiritual people. We still kind of get caught in it too. That's what I'm noticing about myself is like me with a person one-on-one is way different than looking online and being like, oh, he's 5'5". Ugh, swipe. No. I'm definitely not going to pick nobody who's 5'2". It's going to be really fucking hard for me to press that button. If somebody's 5'2", I'm not. Like I can see because you have the data versus the person.
Yeah.
But now I'm to this point where I'm like, you know, you want to, if you can get to the person where you can talk to the person, you can tell in a few minutes, you can tell.
Right.
Easily. Like I said, I can see people like deteriorating. I can see certain things, but there are some spiritual people out there online and they maybe don't know how to write a profile. So, and we're, you know, they're out there. I think for me too, it's the idea of putting out energy in different places, in different spaces, and then learning about yourself. And that's what I've taken it as an opportunity to learn more about myself and what is it that I want and what I don't want. So,
Right.
Yeah, he says you typically lose someone the same way you find them. Be yourself. You know what? And I said this last week too. You want to put things out about yourself. You kind of want to put your 20 out just as much as you put your 80. So you kind of want to put your bad qualities out as much as you put your good qualities out, because you don't want anybody to have all these expectations of you that you can't meet, and you let people know like up front, like, hey, I really, you know, my feet smell bad or something. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, like, you know, like I'm not a morning person. I gotta have coffee. Or I want to scare away certain people because I'm like, yeah, I like tarot and astrology, and I'm a little bit spooky sometimes. So maybe you might not like that. So if you're a really religious person, then maybe you might not want that in your life. So you kind of want to you do want to put those things out there first because you want to weed people out before you have to do it.
Right.
You know. So anyway, any last words for you, Susan, before we get you this plane ticket and get you down here?
Not at the moment, but if I send you my profile from that one place, you're gonna laugh your hiney off.
I need all my hiney, girl. Hey, Matthew. I don't know if you had something you wanted to say Because I feel like you found your perfect match.
Yeah, he's lucky.
I know. I love watching you and Honora together. And he is able to be himself, and he's able to be himself all the time. And I know that, you know, personally, you all know your dark sides. Like you guys know each other's shadow as well as the light. And then you guys, that's, you know, what I always wanted was someone to be my better half. That not I don't even like that, because people always say, you're his better half or something like that. But I always wanted someone who was going to be able to be that for me. Like, I know that I can do that for other people, but I haven't had people that could do that for me. Like, I know that I can be pretty responsible, but I can also be in my own head, and I can be overly, maybe get angry easily, or I can be unreasonable at times too. So I want someone who can point out, like, you know, Erica, you might want to take a beat and take a pause, take a step back and think about that before you do that, before you make that decision. So I don't want to be Miss Uncheckable. I don't want to be Miss Perfect and Miss Always Right. I don't always want to rely on my own understanding. I want to be able to have someone that tells me, like, hey, you know, I think there's a better way to do that. Let's think about that first before we make that decision. So that's another thing too for people. You don't really want a relationship where you're the only one talking and you're the only one making the decisions. You actually want somebody who's responsible enough that if I should have to, I used to say this too, that if I end up in the hospital, can I trust the person with $1 million? Would my bills get paid, or would I end up broke by the time I get out? Are you thinking about that? Like, if you really had to rely on somebody, that you could really trust them and rely on them, and not just have them for fun and amusement, but someone who you could trust. And I know a lot of men, especially in the military, or just different men have experienced that. You come home and you be flat broke because you don't have money to buy a loaf of bread once you come back home, because certain things happen, you know. But I think about that for myself too.
Right.
Yeah. So this might not have been as much fun, but we can leave fun on a fun note with some cat calling. If y'all want to try that, let's try some cat calling.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna try some cat calling for y'all, and I'll share the screen. Because I always feel like, oh my God, I mean, I don't want the video to be too depressing. We gotta have some fun in here. Okay, so anyway, I gotta find it. Find the buttons, y'all. I'm sorry. Oh no, I don't know how to do it. Oh no. Let me see. Share screen, and then it stays like that. Video. Can you see it? It is big. Oh.
Get under that shirt, sweetie. That is a good part. Bet those arms could put together my IKEA furniture. Come talk to me, sweetie. You want a family?
Hey, baby. Hey, baby. I bet you'd let me choose what to do with my own body.
Oh, your ass would look so good on my couch. Do you watch reality TV? How are you at foot rubs?
I bet you can handle a girl with all kinds of emotions.
Hey, baby. You hear me? You hear me? Yeah, because you're a good listener. Boy. The bathroom is so clean.
Ooh, you look so emotionally stable. Those arms look like they can carry some babies.
You look like a real mess. Let me fix you.
Ooh, damn, baby. I bet you have a job with health insurance.
I bet you would treat me with respect.
Is that pole drill?
Ooh, darling. You look monogamous. Hey, nice shoes. Want a spoon?
Screw you.
Ooh, you talk to your mama with that mouth? Or at all? If a good relationship with your mother's important to me. Does the beard match the carpet? Damn, you're cute. Hey, you want to go back to my place? We can eat pizza. We can hold each other all night.
Yeah, we have to make a laugh. That's a hot mess. That one was really funny. I'm glad Larry got a kick out of it.
Mhm.
There's two Southern ladies that do that. You never see their faces, but they say the funniest things. They're on. I think they're on Instagram or on Reels. I don't even know what the name of their channel is, but it's hilarious.
Well, all right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna fly on out. We're gonna fly out, y'all. Yeah, we're gonna fly out. We're not gonna do any game show music, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. So, what is the date on that? That's 2 weeks. And when we come back in 2 weeks, we'll have Alex with us. So that's on the 11th. So we'll be back on the 11th.
Which
meanwhile,
Alex is going to be here?
Let me see.
Thinking I'm not covered out.
You do know Alex. Alex Liberato. He's on the channel with gosh. It's not Marcus. It's not Matthew. The guy that makes the salsa. Who makes the salsa?
Oh yeah. That's
I'm just having
Mario.
a hard time with, yeah, Mario. That's right, with Mario. So he's gonna hang out with us on the 11th. Yay. Cool. I know that's gonna be spicy. But he was having a party today, so he didn't hang out. So we're gonna get flued out, y'all. Hang out. Talk to you later. Thank you for hanging out with us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.